Good morning, everyone. We are so happy to see so many people here today to really do a formal celebration of the Hazelwood Garden. We have been so excited to get this grant, which we were awarded in February, and since then the garden has took off. So for those of you who have seen the garden, it has taken shape over the last few months, and we really could not do it without the help of so many of you in the room today. So I just wanted to go over a little bit about the journey of the garden. We were funded out of one out of 10 communities, Mash in Motion communities in the state of Massachusetts, to get a Healthy Aging Built Environment grant. And so we thought, what a great way to reinforce the built environment is to propose for a garden, because this not only encourages physical activity, but it's also a great way to increase access to affordable, healthy fruits and vegetables. So when we were awarded in February, we got right to work with our Parks and Rec Department, our Office of Housing and Community Development, as well as our Council on Aging. And by March, we had a whole bunch of seedlings taking place. We had help of a local farmer who's been with us the entire way. Unfortunately, she's not here because it's, prime time garden and farming season. But by May, all of our beds were built. We have 8 beautiful 4x6 beds. And really by early, July, there was a plethora of fresh produce that was growing. That included kale, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, chives, parsley, dill, zucchini, and some gorgeous sunflowers. So, like I said, I really wanted to take this time to formally thank so many people who were involved with this project. First and foremost, our Department of Public Health and the Massachusetts Council on Aging. We appreciate you, Mary Kate, being here today. We had a $10,000 grant to do this, and without that support, we wouldn't be able to have this garden, which was, coincidental because the city was actually talking about starting a garden in this site because a lot of the seniors at this site were really interested in getting a garden club started. The Office of Community Services and our Council on Aging, Cynthia Walquist, Deborah Lee, Pamela Amaral Lima, and most importantly, Marisol Grant, who is the site activities coordinator here. She did not have a ton of garden background, so she took this on full force with a smile on her face every time we were in. And again, it was really great to have the seniors getting involved and also our local farmer to really help her every step of the way. So she's really dedicated a lot of time over the summer, really making sure that the garden stays beautiful. Our Parks and Rec Department, the amazing Mary Raposa, she has been huge in answering a lot of our questions as to what size the beds it should be, what materials should go in there, what materials should be put in around it. Her knowledge has been amazing through this whole process, as well as really helping to support this project and making sure that it happens through the city. Our Office of Housing and Community Development, fortunately where Mass in Motion is housed, so we were able to utilize one of our staff, Richard Bruce, who's done a lot of projects in our city. He was able to really give us some really good insight as to how some of the other gardens in the city worked, so that was really helpful in getting the right materials, because I've never built a garden like this before. Our Office of Facilities, Fleet Management, Ken Blanchard and Antonia Silva, they were amazing. They came with all their staff to build the beds. As soon as the materials got in, we were so fortunate to have it come right to them, and they just took off with it. Along with our Department of Public Infrastructure, they again were amazing at bringing their materials over. They picked up the compost for us, put in the stones. So Stephanie Dupree, Zeba Ruda, and their staff were absolutely amazing. Ashley Brister, who is our farmer from around the bend, she's been absolutely wonderful at bringing her expertise about farming and gardening to us, and she's hoping to provide a guidebook for the site so that as people start to come in and get more interested in the garden. There'll be a step-to-step guide throughout the whole process so people have an idea what they should be planting and when and how often to water. Rainbow Daycare, which happened to be right across the road from the garden. So over the last few months, all of the students have been coming over, helping with the seedlings, helping transplanting the seedlings, and really starting to learn a lot more about where food comes from. And Coastline Elderly, Jamie Bucheri has done a food demo, helping to teach our community how to make some very simple dishes, delicious dishes using some of the garden produce. She will be doing a short demo today to really wrap up this project and do a final celebration. So we appreciate your time, Jamie. And last but not least, our Hazelwood Garden group. There's been two amazing seniors who have been here dedicated every single week to the garden club. It's Conchica Gomes and Mercedes Rivera. So they have been absolutely wonderful at caring for this garden and giving it the love that it needs. So before I'm done, I really want to invite Mercedes up here if you wanted to say anything about your experience with the garden and what you've learned.
Yeah, good morning. Excuse me, I got a bad cold. This is the worst day that I have when it comes to talk in front of you guys. So anyway, it's been very nice so far. I mean, we have some results, which is wonderful. And basically when we started is with the kids. They were very helpful. They enjoyed the part of planting and watching over it and getting very excited with us. Anyway, I don't know nothing about garden. This is something new. So you know, she covered all. So anyway, once the plants were getting a little bigger, we brought them outside and, you know, we thank the city for the beds. I never plant anything, but I have enjoyed, you know, the result, like I said. And basically, we have enjoyed the vegetables. We have plenty of stuff to give away, which the seniors enjoy it. And the other girl that's supposed to be here, she's out. And basically, I've been doing and helping out, watering and cleaning the weeds and all that goes with it. And like I said, it's something that I experienced, and I hope it'll be better next year because I'm brand new, and I'm not good at this. So at least, you know, I can say thankful that I did something positive, and it's going to be good next year, hopefully.
Thank you, Mercedes. And I thought it would be really great to hear from our little ones who also benefited from this project. Veronica and Sonia, do you want to come up and talk about your experience at the garden?
Good morning, everyone. So this is Sonia, and this is Ocean, and I'm Veronica. Sonia, what did we bring over? What were some of the plants that we brought? Do you remember? Which ones are really tall?
Sunflowers.
The sunflowers. Are they taller than me? Yes. And how did we build them? We did. What did we bring over from the daycare? We brought what? Our what?
Seeds.
We brought our seeds. What else? What do you? We brought water. What do you use to dig?
Shovels.
We brought our shovels. Who else helped us build the sunflowers? Helped us grow them? Didn't your brother come? And all our friends? And then we got really dirty? What other? Yeah, we did. What other plants did we bring? Or vegetables? Which ones?
Cucumber.
We brought cucumbers. And didn't we come here and we picked them? Did you pick a cucumber? Ocean, did you pick a cucumber? Come closer. You're far away from me. We picked them, and did we eat them?
Yes.
Yes, we did. Didn't Shirley show my friends how to peel the cucumbers? Or cut them? Yes, and they were yummy, weren't they? What else did we bring over? What were those red things, those little red balls called? What is that? Do you remember? What is that, Ocean?
Tomatoes.
A what?
Tomatoes.
A tomato. Where did we put the tomatoes? Where did we put them? In our... And our salad. Remember our salad? Were they good? We all eat our salad. Anything else you want to share with us? No? Do you want to share anything, Ocean?
Yep.
What do you want to share with us?
Cucumber.
Were they good?
Yep.
They were good, weren't they? They were good.
Don't be fooled. Those kids were not this shy when they were seating. And I know, Mercedes, you can attest to that. Those kids were so excited, filling up the trays, talking about all the elements needed to grow. So thank you again, Shirley Giamavo, and all her staff for bringing over the children. So I'm going to hand this over to Jamie. I know everyone's getting really hungry, and she's got some wonderful smelling items. I see some kale chips, which I'm really excited about, and really excited for the kids to try, and all of you. So thank you again so much for everyone. Like I said, this was really a community effort in bringing this project together, and we're really excited to see the Garden Club grow and to continue to see the garden grow in the upcoming year. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Kim, for the introduction. As she mentioned, my name's Jamie Bucheri, and I'm the dietitian at Coastline. We're on the other side of New Bedford, if you don't know about us. So I'm so excited that I was able to get to be a part of this. As Kim also mentioned, earlier in the summer, I did come and make another recipe with some ingredients from the garden. We did a green goddess dip. So that one was the really fresh herbs and the kale, and you mix it up with some sour cream and yogurt, and you can dip pretty much anything in there, including chips if you want to do that. But today, I'm going to start with a Caesar salad, but it's a traditional Caesar salad with a little bit of a twist. So it's going to be made with kale rather than romaine. And it's super, super simple. This isn't going to take long at all, and you're going to want to do this at home, trust me. So in this bowl, I've just got kale. It's been washed and dried and just cut up into little bite-sized pieces. And what I'm going to do is put together the dressing for it. So it's a traditional Caesar dressing, and I made it a little bit healthier because, you know, Caesar dressing is usually very heavy, very mayonnaise-laden and delicious, but we can always make things a little bit healthier. So to start, in my big measuring cup, I just have a little bit of water, and that's going to thin it out a little bit. And that's what you can use instead of more oil. It's just adding a little bit of water to your dressing. So to that, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. I'm doubling it today, so this is going to be about 2 tablespoons. And I do have the recipes available up here if anybody's interested at the end. And then I'm going to add some lemon juice. So this is a nice fresh lemon. It wasn't grown here in the garden, unfortunately. Maybe next year you guys can do lemon trees. I'm going to add in a little bit of lemon juice. Now, kale is kind of one of those amazing vegetables that's like a superfood. If you heard about the superfoods on the news, the ones that are there's completely not protein packed, nutrient packed. Kale is loaded with vitamin C and fiber, and I think folate is in there too. The next thing I'm going to add, we are going to use mayonnaise. I'm using an olive oil-based mayonnaise rather than a completely egg-based mayonnaise. This will cut down a little bit on the fat that you have in there. So I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons. So that's one way that you can lighten it up. You could also try doing this with maybe like a Greek yogurt if you wanted to, or replace the mayo with sour cream. It would just give you a little bit of a different flavor. Okay, so the next thing that goes in is a little bit of garlic. So just about a clove's worth, where it's raw garlic. You don't want to go overboard with it because it'll be really overpowering. And we have a doggy, hi! I think he wants some. So I'm going to do a little bit of salt and pepper. So you always got to add a little bit of salt and pepper for things to be properly seasoned. Not a lot, because we're going to add some cheese in here too, which will be next. Now we have anchovy paste. Does anybody like anchovies? Oh, we have some hands up actually. I'm surprised. Okay. So rather than using the fillets, I like to use the paste because they'll last a lot longer this way, whereas if you open the can of anchovy fillets, what do you do with the rest of them? So this is very salty, so I'm gonna go light on it than how much you would use in a regular recipe. I'm only gonna do about a teaspoon, if not a little less, because it's very strong tasting. But as you may know, a traditional Caesar dressing has anchovies in it, and that's what gives it that really full, what is that flavor that you're like, that's so good, why is it so good, why do I like it so much? So I'm just gonna whisk this up, and the anchovy paste just completely disperses in there. And if you see how this is a little bit thin, so I'm gonna add a little bit more mayo, maybe a little bit more oil. And you can really play with it and do it however you prefer it. You can keep it thin, it'll be more like a vinaigrette, or you can thicken it up, do less oil, do less water, however you prefer. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of the oil. Okay. Now the last ingredient is my personal favorite. Okay, so you just want that to be nice and mixed up. It's kind of like a vinaigrette consistency. And we're going to do a couple tablespoons of cheese. I'm using a Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, a fresh cheese. Now, cheese can be a little bit salty, so again, this is another ingredient here you want to go a little bit light on, but that it's sort of necessary to make the dish authentic and really delicious. So I won't go overboard. I'm just going to do a few tablespoons. And with cheeses, it's just important to remember that the harder the cheese, the saltier it is. So if you're thinking about sodium in your diet, remember that. So something like a cottage cheese or like a mozzarella has a lot less salt in it, something like this. So you want to be a little bit more restricted with the harder cheeses. Okay. So last thing I'm going to do is just give it a taste and make sure it tastes good before I pour it on the salad, and then I'll talk to you about these kale chips over here. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Okay. I can't wait for you guys to try this. All right, so I'm just going to take the dressing and pour it over my kale. Won't use quite all of it. I like a lightly dressed salad. Then you toss it up. Now, if you didn't want to use all kale, say it's, sometimes it can be a little bitter depending on the time of year. It's best in the winter time because then it's sweeter winter through spring, but you can grow it all year long. You could do half kale, half spinach if you wanted to do it that way, or you could do half romaine and you do it a little more traditional. Half romaine and half kale. But using the kale, you really get just such an extra nutrition punch to it that it's worth a try. Does anybody use kale at home? Yeah? A few people. Well, you're going to want to make this. Your boy, kale soup. There you go. But some other ways you can cook kale, I love personally to saute it. You can do it just like a collard greens. Or you can do braising, like in some liquid, do it that way. You can even just roast it, which is sort of like the kale chips. So the last thing I'm doing is putting some croutons on here. You can make them your own by yourself. It's a little more time consuming. These are a great time saver. And I did buy a lower salt ones and organic. So I'm going to toss in our croutons over here, and this salad is ready to go. So before I invite you up to try some, I just want to tell you a little bit about the kale chips. So, has anyone ever had a kale chip before? Kim's back there. I know. So a kale chip is we take the fresh kale. You want to wash it well and then dry it well, and that's kind of the key to making these nice and crispy is a really dry leaf. And then you just spread them out on a pan. And if you saw these before they went in the oven, and Marisol can attest, this pan was totally full, totally green. But they shrink up as they cook, and you get these really nice little crispy, they're so crispy, they just melt in your mouth. I can't wait for you to try them. These ones are just seasoned with a little olive oil and salt and pepper. You bake them for about 20 minutes at 300 degrees, and they come out really crispy and delicious. But you can do any combination of spices that you like. Garlic powder is great, onion powder, cumin, or cayenne pepper, make them spicy, chili, any combination that you want you can do. So our salad's ready. If anybody wants to come up and try it. And we have 2 more plates of kale chips here. If you want to try those as well. And then I think we're going out to the garden after that, right? So I hope you enjoy this. I know, I can't wait to dig in. So I'll push this down here for you.
Before we start, we want to thank Linda Moran, one of our city councilor at large, for coming today. Thank you so much.
So I'm just doing a little more cheese on top because you can never have too much cheese. Okay, so I think you can come up and dig in, grab a bowl.
Christian, you want to try some?
The kale chips here, I'll eat the one I touched off the plate.
No. Can you come this way? Over here, Brian. That's true. Get those. Pick up. Can you stretch? Only the orange one. No, over here, Brian. Over here. Let's go find some. Christian, take that one. Brian,
All right, can you pick?
Chives and pepper.
Okay, so we're gonna redo this.
Okay.
So Marisol, do you want to walk us through the garden and tell us a little bit about what you planted?
Sure. Right here we have planted some squash. We have a little bit of parsley. We have some chives over here, and we planted some peppers in this bed. So this particular bed, we had several different vegetables here, but we've done really well in producing, the squash. We've had some peppers grow, and we've had the parsley. It's been really great.
Some regrowth now, huh?
Some regrowth, yes. We actually cleaned off this bed, and now we're seeing that it's starting to bloom again, actually.
Wonderful.
So it's growing again.
Wonderful.
In this second bed, we
This
have...
one's not hard to
Yeah.
guess, right?
Yeah, actually not. It pretty much is self-explanatory here. We have curly kale,
It's gorgeous.
and pretty much we've left this bed all to the curly kale.
Okay.
So it's been very successful, as you can see.
And how often
it's
have you been
great.
harvesting?
We've been harvesting...
Because this kale looks like, you could get a lot of people could get a lot of use out of this.
Yes,
kale right
we've
now.
actually cut off already like 4 times or
You're
5
kidding?
times.
Wow.
So we've already dispersed at least 4 or 5 times just from this bed
Oh,
alone.
wow.
So it's been
Beautiful.
very successful and
Very
it's been
nice.
great. It looks fantastic.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
And over here we have tomatoes.
Yep.
We did have a couple of squash that we had to pull out because there was a lot of crowding.
Okay.
But successful, and we've got plenty of tomatoes, and they taste delicious.
Yeah, I'm seeing red and orange, so a couple different varieties.
Yes, yes,
Wonderful.
and those are the cherry tomatoes, the
Oh,
small ones,
yep,
the grape
yep,
tomatoes.
yep,
I'm not really
yeah.
sure what they're.
Hey, I
but
can
they
tell
are
you learned a lot
delicious.
since when we first spoke in February.
Yes,
This is
I
great.
am learning
Yep.
every day with this.
Wonderful.
Because it's all new to me as well, but it's been great, you know, to learn something new. It's always great to learn something
Wonderful.
new.
And this bed is a little different.
Yes, in this bed we actually put some basil, and we also have a hot pepper plant, actually donated by one of the seniors. So he was very generous to give us this plant right here, and it's been doing great. And the basil's been fantastic. The basil we have cut off at least 4 to 5 times, so
Oh, wow.
we've actually dispersed a lot of the basil to the
good,
seniors as
good,
well.
good.
So that's been really wonderful.
Wow, you got another tomato. I think
We
that's
have
a
Ocean here
teardrop
with a
tomato.
tomato.
Wonderful.
In his spring here.
And then this is all tomatoes here?
This is another bed of tomatoes. We've got, I think they're pretty much called Italian type of shaped tomatoes. But we are definitely successful this year with tomatoes. Tomatoes, I've heard, has been a great year for the
Yep.
tomatoes.
Wonderful.
So it's been really great.
Good. We'll hop over here.
This one over here.
Yeah.
I think you see
That's
it.
an orange one. I think it needs to ripen a little bit longer. Sorry, we're gonna pop
That's what
in
we're
over
putting
here.
over here. Ocean, put it here so it can get nice and red.
And then what was in this bed? This looks like this has been heavily harvested already.
Yes, we had cucumbers. This was our cucumber bed. We've dispersed over 35 cucumbers.
Oh, nice.
Within the children, they actually came by and they took a few cucumbers, and so they get to try it themselves. So it was really great. Yeah.
And then
Our sunflowers.
last but not least.
Last but not least, you can't miss these. These have really been great. It took a long time, I think,
Yeah.
for these to show, but when they finally did, well, they're beautiful. So this is basically the only bed that we made that was sunflowers, that were flowers itself. So it's been a really great experience, and we've done, you know, the garden has been successful, and we've done much. So.
And then let's show them the little orchard that we planted as well.
We have some fruit.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next season.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah, and then you go make a salad. Bye. Oh,
So cute. So here we have our peaches. This is a pear.
pear. So we, bye, thanks. With some of the funding, we thought it would be great to also include some fruit in addition to the vegetables. So we planted 2 pear trees and 4 blueberry trees. A little difference with fruit is that it takes a little bit longer to grow. There was a handful of blueberries that grew, but the pears will take a few years, and blueberries as well will take a little bit of time for them to grow. But we thought this would be a great complement so that the seniors will not only have some fresh vegetables, but also have some fresh fruit to harvest as well.
Yeah. So we have blueberries here.
Yep, the blueberries. So we have a line of 4 blueberries here, and we learned that the best way to plant blueberries is to have multiple varieties, as well as with the pears. So they have to have different varieties in order for them to cross-pollinate, and so that they can grow effectively to full maturity. So there's 4 different varieties of blueberries, including a pink lemonade, which I picked out and it was my personal favorite. So I'm excited to see how those will be growing.